Yo, 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 what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a DFS strategy video for the 2025 John Deere Classic. My name is Eric, and I am here with SweetSpotDFS to go over all things related to the sweet spot process, which if you're new to the channel, welcome on in. I basically do a very narrow approach to try to find the correct golfers to put in our lineups. I go over the course and tournament information, pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Then I get into the very specific sweet spot things, the bucket system, which just tells us what the best stats have been at this event over the last 9 years, and which golfers share those stats. I will be building lineups at the end of this video. Just a reminder, this is a live stream. So I will be talking to my chat during each of the segments, at the end of each of the segments, just to see what has been posted, if there's any questions to answer. Hopefully you're following along. If this goes to replay, if you're watching this on replay, please participate down in the comment section. There's a little bit of, you get an additional giveaway entry if you do that. So we'll get into all of that here shortly. I also do a review of the previous tournament, just to show you how well the sweet spot process did. That way you can come into this event, into this week, and have the utmost confidence in using the sweet spot process. In fact, there was a person in the Sweet Spot Society that took down the mini max, believe it or not. The 50-cent mini max. I don't think he participates in the YouTube chat, but he does email me quite frequently. I should say frequently. He emails me, we'll just say frequently. That's fine. I don't mean anything by it, Jeremy, but congrats to you, the mini-max winner. I asked him, how did he get on certain golfers? I think he had Ben Griffin in his lineup. He goes, well, I just used the Marquee Tee Times that you guys, or that you go over, which that's another thing I'll be covering in this video. I just used the Marquee Tee Times, and then I put in the golfers in other sites. And he uses like every website imaginable to pinpoint which golfers were the best plays. So congrats to you, man, on the $4,000 that you won. That's awesome. Huge win. Okay. I'm going to say hi to the chat really quickly before we get into this video. I'm going to go into giveaways here shortly, but Joanne, what's going on? Good evening. Didn't see you last week, but I'm glad you participated in the chat afterwards. At least I don't remember you being in the chat, but glad you're here. Wheels up. Cheers. I see YouTube has a new a new like experience badge thing where people get they get ranked based off of their participation in chat. That's awesome. John, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. All right, looks like that's everyone. Let's get into this thing. We're gonna start with giveaways. I like to start with giveaways all the time. If you didn't know, I do a weekly and a monthly giveaway. I got thrown off. I forgot that it was July today. It's the 1st. I'm not ready for July. So that means we had to do a monthly giveaway, which we didn't reach the goal that you can see way over there to the left. I guess we're at 857, not 855, but did not go over or didn't reach the goal. So we're not doing the t-shirt that is given away with the membership to SweetSpotDFS.com, but we're still going to give away a membership to SweetSpotDFS.com. And of course, we're doing the $5 weekly giveaway, which if you want an entry into this giveaway, be here during the live chats. Whenever I take roll call, I will just ask you to type something in the chat. That'll get you an entry into the giveaway. But if you can't be here for the live chat, comment in the comment section. Which I understand if people just don't like doing that kind of thing, but this is what I mean. I'm going to show you. This is the song that will be playing here shortly. The comment section. So you'll have a video like this once it goes live, or after it goes live, it'll go to replay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not even sharing my screen. You'll get a video that looks like this, which will have obviously me on here instead. But go down here and leave a comment under the comments. Leave a comment. I also have something in the description. You can open up the description of this video. There's a way to get an additional entry. Then you just go down to the comment section and type in that comment and you get an additional entry into the giveaway. Super simple, super easy. I just don't see anybody doing it. And that's fine. That's your right. If you guys don't want to do that, you don't have to do it. But if you want an additional entry into it, I don't see why you wouldn't do it. So go leave a comment after this goes live. And then you'll get an additional entry into the giveaway. But I'll throw this on the screen once again. $5 weekly. And then today we are running a monthly membership giveaway. So we'll do that here shortly. I just want to give you one more reminder of another giveaway, the SweetSpotDFS.com giveaway. If you have an account on SweetSpotDFS.com, it doesn't have to be a paid account. It can be a free account. Go create a free account if you haven't. You'll get an entry into this giveaway once this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers. So I'm giving away $1,000 for us reaching 1,000 subscribers. I think I said $1,000. For whatever reason in my head, I said 1,000 subscribers, but whatever. $1,000 for 1,000 subscribers. Go create an account on SweetSpotDFS.com. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Because again, I'm only running this once we reach 1,000 subscribers. It's up to you guys for that participation. Okay, let's go ahead and do our weekly and monthly giveaway. So like I said, I do roll calls. And I had 2 roll calls in last week's video. And these are the entries here. And then in the YouTube comments, we have double ups because people followed the little description that I posted. So they got double entries, and that means there are 21 total weekly giveaways. So let's run the first giveaway. Philip Hall, congrats, man. Philip, reach out to me on how to get that money to you. We can also put it towards like a SweetSpotDFS.com account, whatever you want. We can do that. Moving on to the monthly giveaway. I had 55 entries, which is kind of pitiful compared to last year or last month. We had 132. So not as many, and maybe that's my fault for not getting as many roll calls out there. That's probable. But we will run the monthly giveaway. Again, you can leave comments on these YouTube videos afterwards, and those go towards the weekly giveaways. So if you're not hearing the roll call, certainly can fill up the comment section, and then that'll get you additional entries. So we'll run the monthly giveaway right now. Based J with 2 entries. This one was from the US Open. Roll call number 1. Based J, whenever you see this, reach out to me. All giveaway winners need to reach out to me. I don't have your contact information unless you've won in the past, but I'm still going to leave it up to you guys to reach out to me to say that you are the winner. So Base J, I haven't seen you probably since the US Open, but you get a monthly subscription to SweetSpotDFS.com for free. So you get to use all the tools that I'll be showcasing in this video. Congratulations to you, sir. Okay, now we can go ahead and get into the rest of this video, but I see some new names. JK Lawrence, nice to see you, man. Comment, ... question mark. And Charlie Carton says he's based. Yeah, it appears he is. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into the golf course and tournament information. On the screen right now is the golf course stats tool that I have on SweetSpotDFS.com. If you scroll under fantasy tools and you see the little drop down, go to course or golf course stats, and what you will see on the screen is just a rundown of all the stats of the golf course. If you can't find it, if for whatever reason it's not loaded in for you guys, just go into here for the tournament and select the John Deere Classic. And then from there, go into the golf course and select TPC Deere Run. And it's for 2025. But if you want to look at different years, you certainly can to see if there's any changes that have happened. Sometimes there are. Like here in 2021, went from 78 bunkers to 2022, 76 bunkers. There can be little differences. Now, I'm working on the website right now for a lot of the other tools to include these golf course stats. So whether it be yardage or it be grass or it be shot shapes, those will be filters that we can use on the website. They're not currently there, but they will be. And in the future, or in the near, or I should say, in the present, you could do what Jeremy did, the guy who won the Minimax. Use other sites. Use data points and provide them in other sites and find the best golfers to put in your lineups. And then that way you can take down the Minimax GPP like he did for $4,000. Basically on this page, you're just going to get everything that you would normally get from the gcsaa.org. And if you don't know what that is, you can scroll down on any page of SweetSpotDFS.com and go into the tournament fact sheets, drill down on that, and it'll open up a new page that looks like this. Go into PGA Tour, the tournament fact sheets here, and go to John Deere Classic. And basically all the pieces of information you get right here will be on the website. Anything that I find to be important, you will have on the website. And if for whatever reason they don't match up, let me know, and I will change that information. Everything looks good though? Yeah, everything looks good. Okay, so that's the golf course. And if you want to see the shot shape, like preferred shot shapes, I should say, on the golf course, I have a summary box over here called off the tee shot shapes, and then there's approach shot shapes, and down here it's kind of the hole by hole mapping. Now again, these shot shapes are not necessary. They're just preferred. They offer the best general scoring opportunities for each hole. So you can use this to your advantage. And on the cheat sheet, which I forgot to mention in the beginning, but we are here. If you drill down on the cheat sheet, I'm going to open up in a new tab. Oh boy, I forgot to update this actually. So you're going to have the Rocket Mortgage Classic for this sheet here. Don't mind this sheet. I'll change this by the time you're watching it on replay. But if you scroll down and you look at this cheat sheet here, click on this and this will open up the Google Sheet that I provide every single week. So every single week, if you want access to this, you can find it the same place. It will be at SweetSpotDFS.com under Fantasy Tools Cheat Sheet. I do have shot shapes for some of the golfers, but not all of the golfers. I either don't know their shot shape or I haven't updated in my database to provide it on this cheat sheet. Eventually, everybody will have a preferred shot shape on here. The more and more I watch golf, the more and more I keep track of that stuff. I know Ben Griffin hits it both directions, but he primarily hits a fade. Denny McCarthy primarily hits a draw. Jake Knapp primarily hits a fade. Goddard up, I think it's a fade. I don't know that off the top of my head, I guess. But yeah, over time this will be provided. But for the time being, there are enough golfers on here that maybe if you are interested in them and you see they have a shot shape next to their name, you can certainly use that. And then, pick your golfers based off that. I don't think it's all that important. I don't think you need to select those golfers just because of their shot shapes, especially if we go back to the golf course stats. What do I have? One hole where a draw off the tee is preferred. 2 holes where a fade off the tee is preferred. That's not that big of a deal. However, when it comes to approach shots, looks like there's more fade holes than there are draw holes. It almost looks like a shot shaper's paradise, where if you're shaping it both directions, that would be beneficial. Again, just to repeat this, these are preferred shot shapes. They're not necessary. And I said again, they offer the best general scoring opportunities. If we were to go to the results of the John Deere Classic and I were to zoom in right here, Davis Thompson, I can't actually remember what type of shot shape he hits. I think he hits a fade. But here's what I want to point out. Sepp Straka, who won in 2023, he primarily hits a draw. JT Poston in 2022, he hits a fade. Glover hits a draw. Ryan Moore hits a draw. We go over here a little bit more to the right. Fratelli hits a fade. Russell Henley hits a fade. Michael Kim hits a draw. Bryson DeChambeau hits a draw. Ryan Moore hits a draw. Jordan Spieth hits a draw. So if I go back to the golf course stats and I show you that fades are more preferred than draws, I just named off a bunch of winners that hit a draw. So on some of these holes where a fade is preferred, listen, golf is about execution. It's all about playing your angles and playing smart, playing intelligent. If some of these holes are not accessible, don't go for them. Like I obviously, I'm not telling you guys that, and I'm not even telling anybody that. PGA Tour pros already know this kind of stuff. But if they're executing, whoever's executing the best for the tournament is going to win the tournament. Sure, there might be some mix-ups and messes that golfers make, but who doesn't? Anyways, my whole thought experiment here is, yes, it looks like fades dominate with the preferred shot shape. However, there have been a lot of winners that draw the golf ball. So does it really matter? I don't know. If it's a tiebreaker, that's awesome. But I wouldn't put, out of 100 weights, I wouldn't put more than one weight into shot shapes. So I just provide it for you guys to use it to your advantage, however you want to. Okay, that's enough about the golf course. The tournament, I'm not even going to the page, but the tournament is a 156-man field. Top 65 in ties make the cut. Last week, there were 86 people who made the cut because one guy bogeyed, I think, the last hole to invite all of them in. So I was very curious if the PGA Tour still had, the missed cut did not finish status. Usually what they've done in the past is, even if a ton of people made the cut, they still were going to go into Sunday with the top 78 golfers and no more. So, and sometimes that'd be cut down to 75 because they wouldn't be top 78 in ties. It would just be top 78 golfers. So if there were ties, like I forget how it really worked out, but you wouldn't have had 86 golfers. 8 more, I guess, not that big of a deal, but it is very interesting. I think that's the first time since they dropped the cut down to top 65 in ties that we've had over 80 golfers make the cut. It's either this was the first time or this was the second time, because I don't think there's ever been another time where you had that many golfers. So, and even with that being said, yours truly did not have a good week last week. The Rocket Classic did not provide me with a lot of winnings. So it is what it is. I was on the wrong golfers. Just how it goes. We still have to make choices at the end of the day, and my choices were not correct. So I don't think there's really anything else to talk about golf course and tournament information. So let me check out the chat. Nate Woods, what's going on, man? I love the sweet spot. Thanks for the info, Eric. I actually won the Truce Championship. Hit the sweet spot $25 entry fee first. But what? You won 20,000, Nate? Dude, that's awesome, man. Congrats. That's insane. Wow. That is super cool. Coyven, Griffin, and is that Cootie? What is that for? And also follow me, Grillo, Hodges, Valimaki. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Very interested as to what that pertains to. Okay, let's go ahead and get into my favorite segment, the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups. Okay, you can follow along with me on SweetSpotDFS.com. This is behind a paywall, so you will have to pay in order to reach this. I'm first looking at the past salary builds, which are nicknamed the historic salary builds. And this week, I think the first thing to notice or to mention is if I take and if I look at the salaries that we have for this week, we have 3 10K golfers, and no golfer is more expensive than $10,500. And if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, no one is cheaper than $6,000. I just noticed I need to update this actually. This is the one page that I neglect to update until the end of the tournament, which is fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but I don't know why I didn't update it. There we go. There. Now we have all the golfers in there. But yes, the first thing to mention is 10,500 is the most expensive golfer, and the cheapest golfer is $6,000. So right away in this tool, if I go to more filters, I'm just going to put, first of all, salary used. I'm a big proponent for not leaving a lot of money on the table because, I mean, here, I'll just show you guys. If we take a look at GPP winners, this is in order of what just recently happened. So you've got the Rocket. I have it as Rocket Mortgage Classic. It's the Rocket Classic. The salary used for the winning lineup for the $5 GPP used 49,900 of the salary. And this is going to be my argument for until the end of time. You don't leave a lot of money off on the table because your winning GPP lineups don't. 49.9 last week, 50,000 the week before, 50,000 the week before, 50,000 the week before, 50,000 the week before, 50,000 the week before that, 50,000 the week before that, and the 50,000 the week before that. These are all either the, I mean, all of the major championships you see on there, those are all the Millie Maker, the Millionaire Maker lineup. Otherwise, it's all the $5 GPPs that drive the green. So there you go. And even the Truist Championship 2 months ago, that was 49.9. So of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tournaments, all of those lineups use 49,900 and above with a salary used. And I'll scroll down here shortly or slowly, but you can also go check out SweetSpotDFS.com where I keep track of all of this information. 49.8 at the Valero Texas Open. No, we left $200 on the table. Keep scrolling. Whoa. Players Championship. $400 were left on the table. That's crazy. 49,500. So $500 were left on the table. I keep scrolling down. Do we see any more? There you go. AT&T Pebble Beach Prom. Someone had the foresight to leave a ton of money on the table. $1,000 left on the table. Congrats to that guy. I don't understand how that's possible. What was that lineup, I wonder? And if you want to check out the lineup, whatever the lineup is, go to Pass Optimals, where the page here will show you who the golfers were in the event. So AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, you just click on the GPP winning lineup, and here we go. We can see who it was. It was 10,700 Rory, then 83, 82, 8,000, 3 8K golfers, Rasmus at 75, and then Justin Rose at 63. This is the primary reason right here, Justin Rose. But what a lineup. Hell of a lineup. Anyways, the whole point that I'm showing you, very rarely does any of the GPP winning lineups leave more than, I mean, you just saw it, $200 on the table. So here's what I do. I just go into here in the filters and just go 49,600. To 50,000. I just want to look at salaries used, 49.6 and 50,000, because I have 3 different lineups you can look at: GPP winning, optimal, and SweetSpot optimal. If you leave all of these unselected, it will look at all of them. But you could also select all of them, and you'll select all of them. Like, you can certainly do it however you would like. Does not matter. I'm going to keep them all unselected. Now, what are the difference between all of them? Well, your GPP winning lineup is quite self-explanatory. It's whatever tournament or whatever lineup won the big GPP. That's what that lineup is. The optimal is the perfect lineup. No lineup is going to beat the optimal. The SS optimal, the SweetSpot optimal, this is a lineup that uses at least $49,600 of the salary and above, and it's whatever the best lineup is at 49.6 and above. So sometimes you can find a lineup that does beat the GPP winning lineup this way. Sometimes you can't. Now, it's very infrequent that happens. I mean, I think it's been 2 lineups out of 1,000 lineups that I have or whatever it ends up being. Maybe it's not 1,000. It's 1,000 between all three of them. So let's say 330, 340 lineups that I have, or tournaments that I've captured the lineups for. Maybe just two. It's probably just two lineups where the SweetSpot Optimal can't beat the GPP. It ties it. It either ties it or it loses to it. You know, the one that we just saw, 49,000. I don't know if the SweetSpot Optimal will actually beat the 18 Pebble Beach Pro-Am. I guess we could take a look. I'm curious. I just want to see. Did it beat it? So, oh, actually, I would have to go to this page to take a look. And this is easier because the 18 Pebble Beach Pro-Am's already posted in here. If I just click on the Optimal, that scored 739. Oh, I'm sorry, the SweetSpot Optimal. That scored 722, and it used 50,000 of the salary. GP. Okay, so it wasted the GPP winning lineup. I was just wondering, because of the GPP leaving that much money on the table, if it was just perfect, or it was close to perfect, and it wasn't. I mean, the SweetSpot Optimal beat it by 50 points. So, anyways, I didn't have to go down all of that. I just wanted to show you how it all looked. But my whole thought process here is I don't want to leave a lot of money on the table. And I'm trying to really hammer that to all of you. Don't leave a lot of money on the table. I think it's stupid. Max salary. This should be renamed to saying the most expensive salary in the lineup, which the new tools that I'm creating will say that. I'm revamping everything on the website, just on the back end. You guys can't see it just yet. Once I work it all out and know that it's perfect, I will show you. But for the max salary, because 10,500 is the most expensive golfer in the field, I want to go 10,200 to, I would say, 10,800. So I just want to go 300 above and 300 below. And then for minimum salary, this should just be what's the lowest salary allowed? 6,000. So I'm going to go ahead that and then hit less filters, and this should narrow down the selections that we really want to look at. Now, there are several ways you can go about this, how to analyze this. The very first thing to do is use this whole right side right above my head, this whole table of frequencies. There are 235 lineups along the GPP Optimal and SweetSpot Optimal for the parameters, the filters that I just put in. The most common lineup is 1098-776, which, if you're new to the channel, I want you all to know this. Everybody here in the channel that is currently chatting with me has been here for forever. The jingle that I have said for the entire existence of this channel is start your lineups with a 1098-776 approach, and then make a couple substitutions from there, just from a salary perspective. And that's probably going to be your best bet, because the most common lineup build with these parameters, 1098-776. The next one after that's 1098-777. That would be making one substitution, a 6K up to a 7K. The next one after that is a 1098-766. So now we take one of those two 7Ks and we replace it with a 6K. And then we got a 1088-776. Like, just seeing this over and over and over again. What's the most common thing of all of these lineups? They all start with a 10K golfer. Now, we do have to use our brains a little bit here. I mean, really, if you want to see what you're starting, actually, with those parameters, I have 0 lineups that start with a 9K golfer, believe it or not. 0 golfers that start with a 9K golfer. That's insane. Now, the filters are a bit tight. Like, I did only put 10.2 to 10.8, and that's just looking at the top lineup. I suppose what I could do is actually just drop this down to $9,000, I guess. And then just see how many lineups start in the 9K range. There's one lineup that has 4% commonality, if we want to call it that, frequency. Another 9K lineup with 3.8, But again, most of them start with a 10K golfer. If you do want to start with a 9K golfer, I got no issue with that this week, to be quite honest with you. My dummy lineup that I created to reserve all of my contests on DraftKings all start with a 9K golfer. So if you want to, no issues. In fact, let's take a look at the cheat sheet. Jason Day's 10,500, Ben Griffin's 10,400, and JT Poston's 10,100. Of all those golfers, Ben Griffin is my favorite by far. I'm not going to take anything away from Jason Day, but if you've been to this channel before, you kind of already know I teeter on putting him in a blacklist versus not. And blacklist just meaning never play. Like I have won a GPP playing Jason Day, so I'll be forever grateful for that. But I still have a lot of residual trauma of playing Jason Day and him withdrawing. And that's something you always should understand with Jason Day. He's just a flare up with his bad back away from withdrawing from a tournament. And he does have a bad back. So be careful. Just your forewarning here of playing Jason Day. JT Poston, on the other hand, he has a lot of good course history at this event. He has won this event before. He hasn't been playing that great of golf. We'll do a little bit more of a deep dive with JT Poston. So just from a 10K perspective, I'm not all that confident starting my lineups with a 10K golfer. I say that's a relative. I'm just to add a little bit of context to that. By me saying I'm not that comfortable means I'm still going to play one of these. I will say this. I'll still play a 10K golfer in about 60% of my lineups. 40% of my lineups will start with a 9K golfer most likely. Because I do like this 9K range quite a bit. So that's where we got to use our eyeballs. Someone a long time ago told me that fantasy golf should be 50% science and 50% art. And the art just comes with how you feel about certain golfers in each of these buckets. And that's basically all they are. These are salary buckets, 10K bucket, 9K bucket. What do you feel comfortable playing? And go with that. Personally, the 10K range, not as strong as I would like it to be. So going back to this tool, I would then want to see, I'm going to start my lineups with a 9K golfer. And so the easiest way to do this, and just to take a look, would just be putting in 9K under this G1. That means golfer 1. So golfer 1 is going to always have a 9K golfer in it if you put 9K there. And the most common 9K lineup is a 9-9-8-8-7-6, followed by a 9-9-8-3-7s, followed by a 9-3-8s and 2-7s. And I'm not really going to go further down from there. But it looks like starting with 2 9s would be the way to go. And that kind of makes sense because I'm not leaving a lot of money on the table. And if you are starting in the 9K range, you do have to put enough salaries in your lineup in order to reach the $49,600 filter that I put on here. And that's fine by me, honestly. Like, I do like Ben Griffin quite a bit in the 10K range. But again, I like a lot of people in the 9K range. So if you are using the optimizer with building lineups, I'm not going to preset this for you guys. But if you didn't like the 10K range, I mean, all three of those adds up to be 81%. So you will never have more than 81% unless you change these numbers, the max ownership numbers. I would advise you to maybe go into the 9K range. There are 8 9K golfers, and just make sure that the ownership percentages for all of them are definitely over 100%. But if we're being realistic here, most of our lineups are going to want probably 2 9K golfers in there. So you'd want these to equal up over 200%. Because 2 of them in your lineup, you have to account for that with ownership wise. If you only keep it at 100, like this all being total up to be 100, it just will never get, it'll never get to a point where you can actually put 2 9K golfers in your lineup consistently, just by running the optimizer. You'd have to manipulate it quite a bit. However, the percentages for 10K or for 9K all the way up to the 10K, this actually provides you probably an all-around way of building lineups. If you were just to let it be and just hit run optimizer, it will select, you know, up to 81% 10K golfers, and the rest will be 9K golfers. But I don't even know if there'll be a ton of 10K golfers. You know, there'll be a considerable amount of lineups that will start with 2 9Ks if you just let the optimizer run without any, like without locking in any of the golfers. So just throwing that out there. And if you want access to the optimizer, go to Fantasy Tools, drill down an optimizer, and then you will be met with a page that will bring a pop-up, or that'll pop out a request. Just put your email here, request now, and I'll get the email and send you the optimizer. So simple as that. I think that's, I mean, if you really want to get even more narrow, we can clear all of the filters. Just hit the little clear filters button and put in just John Deere Classic. And we can just take a look at what all the John Deere Classic lineups from since 2018 or 2019, whatever the first year is that I had salaries. Definitely 2019. We had some in 2018 and we had some in 2017. Cool. You can see what the most common lineup build is. 10-9, 2-7, or 3 7s and a 6. That was an optimal lineup in 2019, an optimal lineup in 2017, and a sweet spot optimal also in 2017. Followed that by a 10-8, 8, 7, 7, 6, a 10-8, 8, 3 7s, and then you get into the 9K range. It looks like 52% of those lineups start with a 10K golfer. 68% of the lineups had at least one 9K golfer. So it doesn't really tell us which one started that way, but we can kind of do rough math here. There are 19 total lineups that I have for the John Deere Classic. And if we were just to take a look at all of those that started with a 10K golfer, what was the number I said? 19? 10 of those 19. So it's a 50-50. 50-50 of 9Ks versus 10Ks. If I drill down on GPP winning lineup, only 2 of them start with a 10K golfer. 3 started with a 9K golfer. So keep that in mind. Optimal lineup, there was 4. Sweet spot optimal, there were 4. So 4 to 7. So keep that in mind. It's pretty much 50-50, man. Okay. Well, I have given you the tools, or I've gone over the tools that you guys can use at your disposal for your research. Go to SweetSpotDFS.com, take a look at this, and try to find the best place for you. But I think that is all that I want to do with pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Let me check at the chat before I go into the next segment. Ryan comes in and says, Shank week, let's go. I hope he plays well, man. Lombardi Lee, hey, Eric. Okay. You said like hi like 5 times. What's going on, Lombardi? Oh, no, you didn't. I'm sorry. I'm mistaking your logo with someone else's. Hello, Lombardi. I am sorry for saying that. How are you? Wheels Up says, Suber, glad to see you. Haha, I get it. Suber was in the optimal lineup last week. Jackson Suber, Wheels Up guy. Ryan Henson, also this is accuracy course. Get in the fairway, you're golden. If you miss it, if you miss missing to the left is better in my opinion. Okay. Joanne says hello, Lee. Ryan goes, also back 9 left easier, so maybe finishing on back 9 might be a little push to make for cut, or for make the cut. Okay. I don't have data for that, so sure. Nate says, thanks, Eric. I'm trying to send my lineup from my gallery. I also placed 66 last week in the big 200,000 tournament. Even when I miss new videos, I still follow Sweet Spot. There we go. I see. You were giving me your lineup. So it was Ben Griffin. Who was the Cody guy? Do I not know? I'm not sure who Cody was. You had Jackson Koiven, Ben Griffin, Cody, Grillo, Hodges, and Valimaki. Oh, that was from, okay, never mind. That wasn't from last week. That was, I'm sorry. That was a couple weeks ago. Okay, my bad. Wheels Up says, first coffee of the day. Did you just wake up not too long ago? I know you have like a night shift, but do you also sleep until late afternoon? Shotty Carson says, I'm too comfortable. LOL. I'm starting most lineups Griffin and D-Mac. Yeah. Denny McCarthy, that is. I absolutely agree. How many started with 2 10K golfers? Okay. Hey, there we go. We get some questions. I can show that. Started with 2 10Ks. So if you are on SweetSpotDFS.com and you have access to this page, you go golfer 1, 10K. Golfer 2, 10K. And then you'll see 111 total lineups. Most common, or the last one was the PGA Championship and the Masters Tournament. All in the Sweet Spot Optimals and GPP winnings. And that's 111 lineups out of 1,034. So 10% of your lineups, of all lineups, start with 2 10K golfers. And if you wanted to put the same filters that I had on, only 50. So it cuts in half. Not terrible. Okay. Interesting. All right. Let's go ahead and review. Let's go ahead and review the Rocket Mortgage, or the Rocket Classic, I should say. And really only look at the sweet spot process. That's all that I'm really interested in. So if I go ahead and put up the bucket system from last week, basically what I want to do is just show all of those that were successful. So I'll hide all of this and we can see which of the buckets were successful, which ones were not. So looks like I have a no down here for course history 3s. And it shows that I wanted 1 to 3, and there were 0 in the top 10 and 0 in the optimal lineup. So that was a failure. The other failure I have are course history golfers that averaged a missed cut or worse, or at least 80th place or worse. I only wanted 0 to 2, and I am very curious as to why that number's so low when we've always had at least 2 golfers from that bucket inside the top 10. I mean, how the projections work have a lot to do with the strength of field of this event. That might be something I need to ignore for next year. Because even the optimal lineup, if you look at the frequencies in the optimal lineup, 1 to 3. I'm sorry, not that one, but this one here. 1 to 3. Oh, it was this one up here. Well, first of all, for course history 3s. 1 to 3. Okay, never mind. I'm mixing them all up. It was this course history 5 that I wanted to look at. So this one's always been 1 to 3 to have an optimal lineup golfer in it, where the projection was 0 to 2. And the min max was 2 to 4. I think the main reason that that's why that happened is because you get I think that has a lot to do with just how weak the golfers were from that bucket. I mean, I guess let's take a look. I'm really curious. So it was course history 5s. Aldrich won, by the way. So that's one of the golfers. He was a course history 5 guy because I think last year he missed the cut at this event. Yeah, well, it wasn't last year. I'm not sure what year it was. (2023), so 2 years ago, he missed the cut. So it was one event. That's why he missed the cut. Michael Thorbjornsen, last year was his first year playing this tournament. He missed the cut. So he was in that bucket as well. So too was Putnam and Kevin Roy, but Putnam would have been playing this tournament more than once, I would think. Let's take a look first. So Putnam had played it 2 times, 2021 and 2020. Okay. That's enough to say perhaps he's a different golfer this year than he was back then. And then Kevin Roy missed the cut 2 years ago. So I basically have, outside of Putnam, 3 golfers who've only played this event once and missed the cut. And those guys are inside the top 10. And that is why this bucket, well, first of all, probably why also this bucket had a low projection is because those golfers they really haven't proven themselves that much. Like, obviously the upside there was with Potgieter. Everybody knew that. Michael Thorbjornsen, same thing. I'm trying to work it out in my head why the projection was so low. It had to be because of strength of field points, literally, because the rest of the buckets made up of like 70%. How much is this? 76% of your strength of field went towards course history 1 bucket, course history 2, and course history 3, whereas only 6.25% of the strength of field of this event was in the course history 5 buckets. So Rocket Mortgage, a little bit more volatile than I think most tournaments, but also we only have course history data that goes back to 2019. All of the other events, including this week at the John Deere Classic, go back to 2013. So 6 years, 6 more years of data that can be normalized versus the Rocket Mortgage, where instead of 13 years of data, we have 6 years of data. 2019 to 2025, 6 years of data. So yeah, those two, the course history buckets, those were the only 2 that failed. Every other bucket was successful for the Rocket Classic. Taking a look now, to me, the buckets can fail, but as long as the Sweet Spot Optimal beats the GPP winning lineup, that's all that matters. And it did this week or last week. The GPP winning lineup scored 727 points. The Sweet Spot Optimal scored 729. So it just squeaked it out by 2.5 points. And that is, if you followed the Sweet Spot process, that is what this lineup was for last week. So 49,900, you could have done it by building a lineup with Colin Morikawa and Max Grazerman as your anchor spots, and then going to Hideki Matsuyama. So a 10.99. Aldrich at 7, $6,900 Tristan Lawrence, and then $6,400 Jackson Suber, wheels up, his golfer, his little man crush. The optimal lineup left $5,600 on the table. I never advise, trying to search for that, building a lineup, leaving that much money on the table, just because it's so difficult to find it's already difficult to find the right golfers, but when you're leaving that much money on the table, now you have trillions of different combinations that you can actually build, because you have to leave a lot of money on the table. So it's good to see the Sweet Spot take down the GPP. Somebody in our Sweet Spot Society did take down a GPP, which is wonderful. They took down the Minimax, like I stated in the beginning of the video, so that was sweet. The only other thing to talk about are the Marquee Tee Times from the Rocket Classic. So it's the top 9 groups, and each group has 3 golfers in it. It's your Thursday, Friday tee time pairings. That is what makes up all of these groups. And I rank order these groups based off their Sweet Spot score, their collective Sweet Spot score. So that's how the groups are ranked. Now, there are different colorings that you can see here. Green in the salaries indicate the Sweet Spot Optimal lineup. There were 3 golfers: Morikawa, Matsuyama, and Max Grazerman. So those three guys were in the Sweet Spot Optimal. In the GPP winning lineup, it was Ben Griffin, Max Grazerman, and Jake Knapp. Three guys there. And in the Optimal lineup, it was Max Grazerman and Chris Kirk. Now here's the big, the rules that I talk about when it comes to Marquee Tee Times. So in this lineup, or in this grouping, it was Morikawa, Cantlay, and Bradley. They played together. Now I say this every single week. You don't want to play more than 2 to 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times, and you only want to select one golfer from each of those groups, whatever groups you choose. One golfer, and that's what you see. Morikawa, Cantlay, Bradley, it was Morikawa. He's the only guy that finished inside the top 10. In the next group, it was Matsuyama, Griffin, and Homa. Now, Matsuyama and Griffin finished 13th place. Matsuyama actually scored more points than Griffin did by 5 or 4.5. One was in the Sweet Spot Optimal. The other was in the GPP winning lineup. So could you have won money with those guys? Absolutely. But we're in the business of trying to take down GPPs. Can't play them both. Obviously, the GPP winner didn't play them both. The next lineup, or the next grouping, group 5, was Max Grazerman, Mark Hubbard, and Nikolai Højgaard. Mark Hubbard at $7,100 finished 13th place, but he was not in the GPP winning lineup, he was not in the Optimal lineup, and he wasn't in the Sweet Spot Optimal. So it was only Max Grazerman from that group. And then it was Chris Kirk, Davis Thompson, and Siwoo Kim. They all made the cut, but only Chris Kirk finished inside the top 10. In fact, he finished second. And then it was Jake Knapp, Tom Kim, Steven Yeager. So if you were on the Knapp train, he had a very low second round, and that's how he made the cut, because he did not look good the first day. So it just shows the Marquee Tee Times last week successful. So we'll look we will look at the Marquee Tee Times for the Travelers Championship coming up here shortly. We're first going to go over the bucket system, and then we'll get in the Marquee Tee Times. Then we'll get to lineup building. But first, I'm going to check out the chat and just see what's going on here. Oh, Jim Lemoyne, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. Finished top 10. There you go. Hadwin was my only mistake. It happens, dude. It happens. All right. We are already on the right transition. So, actually, no. We're going to talk about the bucket system for the John Deere Classic. So much like what we did when we reviewed the Rocket Classic, I shouldn't say much like we did. I showed you how to use the bucket system. I'll do that here quickly, because you can access this on the cheat sheet under the bucket system. And if you want to know how to access the cheat sheet, go to SweetSpotDFS.com. You do not need to be a paying member to check this out. Go from Fantasy Tools down to Cheat Sheet and scroll down on the page until you reach this cheat sheet that says click here. You click on that, that opens up a cheat sheet, and the bucket system is right here for you guys to follow along with me. So on you guys, if you do want to follow along with me. If you don't, that's fine. No big deal. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow down each of these buckets. Well, I guess the first thing I'm going to do is actually just show you how to use the bucket system to your advantage. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out, I'm going to put a filter on this, which there already is, called the bucket system. And then I'm going to clear this all out and go to last year. I'm just going to show you how to use it, because I'm not going to spend too much more time explaining it. This very first bucket, the last year one bucket, if I zoom in a little bit more, it states we want somewhere between one golfer for the minimum projection, 1.3, and in the max projection, we want 2.17. So we're looking at this bucket right here, and we're looking at these projections. Now I have the minimum projection backwards from the maximum projection. I think that had a lot to do with, I wasn't sure I was going to actually include a minimum projection when I created this, but either way. It says min projection, max projection. We always round down with the minimum. We always round up with the maximum. This bucket here, I won't lie, is a 0 to 3 bucket for me. You bump down the minimum to 0. Now, normally I would say you don't do that because this will round up to 3. We always want a 2-point buffer between the minimum and maximum. But because this is such a low max for 2, I'm dropping this to 0. And I feel absolutely comfortable with that because it's a 0 to 3 bucket, meaning you can choose up to 3 golfers to pick from it if you want. You don't have to, but you could. Obviously, I wouldn't pick 4 golfers or 5 or 6. I think that's what you don't want to do. And that's the beautiful thing about the bucket system is it gives you limitations as to what to do when building lineups. So for me, 0 to 3 is absolutely perfect. And when we build lineups a little bit later, what I have for last year 1, 0 to 3 for my conditional for last year 1. So that's how you read it. For a bucket like this would be 0 to 2, which also is the same projection for this bucket, last year 3. As you can see, it says 0.5 to 0.84. But as long as I have more than 2 golfers in this, I will always have a 2-point buffer between the minimum and the maximum. So because you can't go further down, further below than 0, we have to bump up the max to 2. So that's how you read the bucket system. Now, I'm going to include all the buckets back. I just did that just to make it easy and less messy. For this video, I'm going to shorten up or narrow down the buckets. And I call these your anchor buckets. So I'm sorry. I'm narrowing down on the buckets that I want to pull golfers from. And in order to do that, I want this minimum projection to say at least 1. So I go into filter by condition and go greater than or equal to 1. Hit OK. And technically, these are all the buckets you want at least 1 golfer from. Now, you still got to use your eyeballs and just look at the data, look at the golfers in each of those buckets. Does it make sense? I guess I don't have an issue because if you just look at the frequency rates here, it's pretty high. This tells you how frequently it happens at least once a year. And what I mean by that is, what's the top 10 frequency? So 88.89% of the time, a golfer from this bucket, any given year, finishes inside the top 10. That's what that means. So this would, I'm guessing this is 8 out of 9 times. 8 out of the last 9 years, we've had at least 1 golfer finish inside the top 10 under the last year 1 bucket. That's how you'd read that. So technically, these are all anchor buckets, but I like to go just a bit further and go filter by condition under the max projections and go greater than or equal to 2. Now, there is 1 bucket that I'm going to exclude, and it is this bucket right here. 2.05, that's pretty low. If you didn't already know this, I do have a miscellaneous information segment over here where I actually can I get a bit more strict with my buckets, my projections. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go greater than or equal to 2 for this bucket as well, or this column right here. So when I take a look, technically these are all of the anchor buckets that I feel comfortable saying you probably want to play 1 golfer from these buckets, each of these buckets. Now, some of these golfers will have multiple. They'll represent multiple buckets within these because there are 6 different stats: last year, last week, course history, recent form, salaries, and strokes gained. So they can represent more than one of these buckets. Each golfer can. From here, what I really want to do is filter down. And I can already tell it's not going to work out as well as I want it to. The amount of golfers in each of these buckets is pretty high. I normally narrow this down even more just to really pinpoint the true anchor buckets, like the absolute buckets you want to select golfers from. Actually, that's not true. I'm sorry, that's not true. That's the wrong way to explain that. I narrowed down these buckets for time for this video. Because if I go over a bucket that has 59 golfers in it, It's a lot of time. That's a long time. So technically, these are all your anchor buckets. And if you wanted to take a look at all the golfers in the last year one bucket, go to the dream sheet, make sure there's a filter on it. And I would make sure you sort by salary, top to bottom, Z to A. And then go into last year, clear out all the buckets, and just select one. So only the last year one golfers will show. And here you go. Here's the list of them. There are 16. It says there are 16, so that's perfect. And, you know, Ben Griffin's in this bucket. Denny McCarthy's in this bucket. So Shalik Harden already has 2 guys from this bucket in his lineup, which if we go back to the projections, I'm saying there's a good likelihood 1 to 3 golfers will be inside the top 10 from this bucket this week at the John Deere Classic. That could come true. I mean, we have 5 golfers at $9K and above, 7 golfers $8,700 and above. There are some good golfers to choose from in this bucket. So do you think, or do I think you guys should pick one golfer from this bucket? Yeah, I do. Like 95% of me is saying I do want to start with one of these guys. Or not so much start, but I want one of these guys in my lineup. So up to you guys. It's really up to you. Again, 50% science, 50% art on building lineups. I think, I mean, normally what I would do in this segment is I'd go into bucket totals this year and I'd say less than or equal to 25, but let's go less than or equal to 30. That way I can just, you know, be quick about this. And there's only 3 buckets to look at. Last year, last week, and strokes gained. Last year 1, last week 1, and strokes gained 2. We kind of already just covered last year ones. But you know how I said that some of these golfers might represent multiple buckets? Well, look at Ben Griffin. We're going to look at last week ones next. He is a last year one, last week one. So too is Michael Thorbjornsen. Which is interesting. How? I thought he had a missed cut. Oh no, never mind. He did finish second here last year. But he's a 1-1. Sammy Valimaki is a 1-1. Chan Kim is a 1-1. So we have multiple golfers representing the 2 buckets, the 2 anchor buckets that we are going to talk about. Does that ensure that these golfers will be inside the top 10? No, it does not. Nothing is certain in golf, but I will say this, it increases their chances of finishing inside the top 10. I think it's and those are all good plays. Like it's a no-brainer to select at least one of those guys. If we look at the last week 1 buckets, obviously now we'll get some golfers that aren't last year ones. These are all the last week ones. And again, use your eyeballs. Use the stats. Which golfers pop out and say, hey, you should play this guy. Michael Thorbjornsen seems like a good play. Ben Griffin seems like a good play. I won't be shy to play Knapp. I won't be shy to play Kirk. I also won't be shy to play Aldrich Podgater from last week. I think those are all great names. And then you've got some filler plays down here that I think are just fine as well. So really it's up to you guys what you guys want to do. I'm just trying to provide all the tools and my opinions to either make you feel comfortable playing a golfer, make you feel uncomfortable playing a golfer, or maybe convince you to play or not play a golfer. Strokes gained 2. It's another 1 to 3 bucket. I don't really like to go over strokes gained stats, but I guess it's worth mentioning. It starts with J Day at 10.5, Sung Jae at 9.2, and then Michael Thorbjornsen, Luke Clanton. Those are good names. And I don't mind playing at least one of these guys, but the top 2 guys don't provide me a lot of confidence. And those 2 don't have to provide me confidence. It's not that's not what I'm really saying. But yeah, I don't know. It's of the 3 anchor buckets we looked at, this is probably my least confident bucket to select a golfer from. I do like Thorbjornsen and Clanton this week. I also like Sam Stevens. I think this is a great golf course for Sam Stevens. I'm a sucker for Jesper Svensson. The mustache man Chandler Phillips, I don't mind playing him, especially at 7K, just min. Hayden Springer here last year, I'm pretty sure it was last year, shot 60. I'm going to use a tool at SweetSpotDFS.com, which you guys can all use as well. This is the round by round stats. If I go Hayden Buckley under golfer and I put in John Deere Classic, we take a look. It wasn't this tournament. I thought it was. Shot a 64 here in round 1 last year. Bummer. I thought he did. Let me clear this all out and we can see what his low was. Oh, I suppose his low was a 63. He was in the running to shoot a 59. I thought he shot a 59. Did he not? Oh, this is Hayden Buckley. This isn't, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm Hayden Springer, not Buckley. Springer. I chose the wrong Hayden. All right, Hayden, let's put in the John Deere Classic. Yeah, see, he did shoot a 59. That is his low round, and it was in round 1. And it was this golf course. See, I'm remembering correctly. 59 in round 1 last year. And he's what, $6,000? I imagine he was $6,000 last year as well. 6,900. If I go to 2024 and where was he? Right here, 7,000. Wow. He was a strokes gained 2 golfer there as well. Was he coming in with the same kind of form? He had a top 10 the week before the Rocket Classic. I don't think that's what's happening this year. He had a couple missed cuts too. $6,900 Hayden Springer. Coming in with a 34th place finish. I don't hate that. Hayden Springer. See? Not a bad play. Just diving into some of these golfers. Oh, and Chris Ventura's down here. Sign me up, man. I don't know what happened to Chris Ventura. When was it? Was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. I was kind of I wouldn't say heavy on playing him, but I definitely wanted to play Chris Ventura last week. He finished 34th, started out hot, shot a 65 round 1. Then it was a 72, 70, 68, 17 birdies. That's pretty good. 1 eagle. That's always good. I don't think he was in. Yeah, I don't know what his. Do I have a tab for this? I wonder. Oh yeah, I just go into past optimals. I'm gonna put in Rocket Mortgage Classic and point totals. Okay, so he's not going to be top 20 with points. He scored 85. Chris Ventura right here was not in the nope. Not even like 30th. He's like 40th with DraftKings points. Okay. Had to look. I was curious. I do like Chris Ventura though. I think he has a lot of upside. Anyways, I'm not going to bore you guys any longer with the bucket system. This is all available for you guys to use as tools to select the golfers you want to select. I'm just here guiding you, just seeing what you guys are interested in, or maybe I can interest you in certain golfers that maybe you weren't interested in. Like the bucket system altogether is just meant to be a tool that limits you from playing too many bad plays, really. That's how I kind of look at it. Because I think some of you guys will come into building lineups every single week wanting 6 golfers that finished top 20 last week. It's like, that's just never going to win you a GPP. The bucket system's here to show you that that's never going to work. It's never going to happen. It wasn't last week, but I think there was a week where someone came in and just wanted just nothing but top 20 finishers. I mean, look at this. Of the top 20 golfers at the Rocket Classic, 3 of them, I'll give you guys that, 3 of them had top 20 finishes. But you can see none of them were in the optimal lineup. None of them were in the GPP winning lineup. Actually, that's not true. Ben Griffin and Harry Hall were 2 guys. 2 guys. Last year ones. Or last week ones, sorry. I always do that. Last week ones. And what do we have this week? 1 to 3 or 0 to 3. So there you go. We're limiting how many golfers we can actually select and going from there. So that's what I have for the bucket system. John comes in, Springer. I don't know when you said that, but you didn't say it when I noticed it. Make sure you guys are current with the stream. Click the live button down there if you haven't already. Move that progress bar all the way over to the right just to make sure you're active or you're current with me. All right. Follow me. Type in SweetSpot. That's going to be roll call number 1. Roll call number 1 for next week's giveaway. What's going on, Mr. Tulos? Dumb and Dumber and More Dumber. What's going on, man? I had you on the new subscriber a while ago, and it was, I think I just put Dumb and Dumber in there because your name's too long to fit as a new subscriber. I know you've been subscribed for a while, but I go through my list. And I just do one at a time. One a week. I forgot to actually update this. I should probably update it. Tim Tulos, Wheels Up. And More Dumber. Oh, my bad. You know what? We're just gonna do this. There you go. More and More Dumber. Philip, you, I think, were the weekly giveaway winner. I think you were. I mean, your name was just on, but sometimes when you update things, who was our weekly giveaway winner? I don't remember. Check in the beginning of the video just to see if your name was called. Bill H, that seems like a new name. What's going on, man? AJ Love, nice to see you. AJ and I have been on a very cold streak. Very cold streak. See, I got John, Ryan, Joanne, Tim, Wheels Up, Lombardi. Yep. Jim Lemoyne, Dumb and More Dumber. Philip. Yeah, Philip. Bill. AJ. Just got home. My car overheated all the way to my gig and all the way home. Nightmare of a day. That's not good, man. I'm sorry to hear that. All right. If anyone else comes in, I will add them, but let's move on and get into the last segment before we start building lineups, which is the Marquee Tee Times. So I just got to make sure I'm set. Okay. Well, I'm going to hit you with that transition. It's easy for me to timestamp these once these happen. So here we go. It was Philip, that one? Perfect. Thank you for validating that. All right, here we go. All right. You guys are, if you're new to the channel, welcome in. We're going over Marquee Tee Times. Most of you guys have been here before. You know what the scoop. I'm on the wrong page. Sorry. John Deere Classic. That's where we want to go. Not the Rocket Mortgage Classic or the Rocket Classic. If you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, which is available to you at SweetSpotDFS.com, go to group rank. I think your group rank is in column O, mine's in column R, just because I have some fields over here, but sort A to Z. And basically what we're going to be looking at are the top 9 groups according to the SweetSpot score. Now the SweetSpot score is just the model for each of these golfers, their collective score in a group. That's how they're ranked. So the top group is Ben Griffin, Michael Thorbjornsen, and Aldrich Potgieter. They just have the highest SweetSpot score combined. Then it's Jason Day, Davis Thompson, and Lucas Glover, Siwoo Kim, Sungjae Im, Steven Yeager, JT Poston, Chris Kirk, Michael Kim, Bud Cauley, Andrew Putnam, and Max McGreevy. That's actually sneaky, one of my favorite groups of the week. Jake Knapp, Ricky Fowler, Max Homa, Keith Mitchell, Vince Whaley, Chad Ramey. Wow, what a rhymey type of group that was. Next one's Nico Echeverria, Tom Kim. Remember when this guy used to be good at golf? Now he's not. Carl Phillips, which also has been struggling. Then it's Sam Stevens, Joel Damon, Justin Lauer. I like that group too. Wow, okay. So with the Marquee Tee Times, we want to select 2 to 4 golfers to build our lineups around from the 9 groups that I have on there. Now, there's a second rule to this. You can only pick 1 golfer in a group. So you pick 2 to 4 groups and then only pick 1 golfer from them. Or an easier way to say this is pick 2 to 4 golfers and just make sure they're not playing with somebody else in their group. Like, you don't want to pair them up. Has it happened where GPP winning lineups have had golfers from the same group in their lineups? Yes, that happens. Have optimal lineups been that way too? Yes. But it is very infrequent, like less than 5% of the time that actually occurs. We just went over the Rocket Classic where we found 3 golfers in the SweetSpot optimal. Within the Marquee Tee Times, we found 3 golfers in the GPP winning lineup, and we found 2 golfers in the optimal lineup. And in each of those lineups, none of the golfers that were in that represented those represented the Marquee Tee Times were paired up together. 3 different iterations of lineups, and none of them are paired up together. In fact, I'll go back to it again. I already showed this. The green salaries here indicate the SweetSpot optimal. The blue colors here indicate the GPP winning lineup, and then you have these little black tick marks that are hard to see on the screen. Those are your optimal lineup golfers. None of them were playing together. So that's what I use for each event. This one, the John Deere Classic, is no different. I'm going to give you kind of some combinations I like. I want you guys to start brainstorming. We're going to start building lineups here very shortly after I mention this. Don't put them in the chat yet. I see some of you guys already have, though. Okay. Just wait, because I want to keep track of this, so it makes it easier for me to pull into building lineups. But I'll go over my groups, or the combinations of golfers I like. This first group is very difficult for me because I like all 3 of the golfers, but I do want I want most of, let's just say 60% of my lineups. I want to be represented by one of these golfers. Whether it's Ben Griffin, Michael Thorbjornsen, or Aldrich Potgieter. Does not matter to me. I like all 3 of them, and I want them in my lineups. A combination that I like is starting my lineups with Ben Griffin, Bud Cauley. There was a 9K golfer. Where is he? Hold on. Let me do this again. It's Ben Griffin, Bud Cauley, You know what? I don't think there was. I think the 9K golfer was Michael Thorbjornsen. But because they're playing together, I don't want them in a lineup together. I want desperately Sung J M to actually pull through and be good again. I just don't know if that's this week. I don't know. 3 golfers there are fine. I also could just do 2. I could go Ben Griffin, Bud Cauley, and then move on from there. I don't think that's how this is going to work this week. Because I don't know how many 9K golfers. Oh, Chris Gotterup. Maybe that was the 9K golfer that I wanted to pair up. Denny McCarthy is down here. Okay, that's worthwhile. Because Ben Griffin, Bud Cauley, and either Gotterup or Denny McCarthy work for me. And that's a 10-9-8 start. And I actually like that. I could skip out on some of these other golfers, and I think that'd be fine. If I'm playing a Michael Thorbjornsen lineup, I don't know how I feel pairing up with Jason Day or JT Poston. I just don't know how I feel about that. I still would rather like go Michael Thorbjornsen, Bud Cauley. This might be a 9-9-8-8 start for me, honestly, because I also do like Sam Stevens. So I could do 3 guys right here and then Denny McCarthy. So 99, 91, 86, 83. And it might leave me with the 7K, 6K type of build. So that would be fine. I think that'd be fine. I do like Andrew Putnam also. That's in Bud Cauley's group. So I could exchange him, and that could be a pivot. I know people like to pivot from price points. Well, how about pivot from Marquee Tee Times? So Bud Cauley to Andrew Putnam, I think is fine. And even Max McGreevy at $7,100. I do like the gravy, Max McGravy. I think that's fine. And also, I mean, like Aldrich at 7,900. If you paired him up with anybody that I just mentioned, like even Bud Cauley, you could move down here and play the 2 9K golfers I just mentioned, Chris Gotterup and Denny McCarthy. And that way you have 2 golfers that are on the Marquee Tee Times and 2 golfers that are not. And it starts out 9-9-8-7. I think that's fine. It's a high 7K golfer too. So yeah, that's one way to look at building lineups on the Marquee Tee Times. You do not need to find 4 golfers to build your lineups around. You don't need to. It's 2 to 4. So use your eyeballs, whatever you're comfortable with, and go from there. But I will I'll highlight all 3 or all the groups once again. Try to make it easier for you guys to distinguish which the golfers are or who the golfers are. And then I want you in the chat to give me 2 to 4 golfers to build your lineups around from the Marquee Tee Times. And I'm going to go ahead and throw some music on. Now, I'm going to do this like I did last week. It will be 5 lineups. I'm only going to build 5 lineups for you guys in a max of 3 minutes. So for whatever reason, if, you know, the 5 lineups aren't shorter than 3 minutes, which they should be because we're not figuring things out, I'll give you up to 3 minutes to change things around. Now, the other thing with this, if you don't like certain golfers in your lineups, tell me. Tell me by saying kick, then the golfer's name. You know, I think it's notorious. Like if you were to tell me kick Taylor, well, there's not in this week, you know, there isn't. I'm just giving you an example. But someone a while ago says kick Taylor. And in the lineup that we had built, there was Taylor Moore, Taylor Pendrith, and Nick Taylor. And it's like, okay, which Taylor am I supposed to kick? So if you want more time for building lineups, be more precise with your wording. My only ask. So. Check your Discord, hope it helps. I don't know what you want me to do with that, Ryan. Your tee times with some projections and ownerships. Okay. I don't know what I can do with that in my stream. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Ryan, I'm going to start with you. Griffin, Putnam, Sam Stevens, and Schenk. And that's fine. Wheels, you'll go second. I'll just go top to bottom. I just wanted to stop people from entering those in there. Okay. So here's the optimizer. Most of you guys are familiar with it. And we're just going to lock those guys in. Griffin, Putnam, Sam Stevens. Stevens is 83, I know that. What was Putnam again? 76? There he is. And Mr. Schenk. Shankopotamus. $6,800. All right, we're going to give him a little bit of a boost just to not have to kick him out, or try to bring him back, I should say. Give him a boost. Anybody else that needs a boost? Yeah, we'll give him a boost. Sam Stevens. I do this because the optimizer will kick people out if their score isn't high enough. And I rather just avoid that. It can kick out the other golfers. All right, so I think I'm going to do the same thing I did last week, because that was, I actually liked how we were building lineups last week. I'm going to go 100% down to the 9K range. And then from here, it will use the exposures that I have for everyone else. So that works. By the way, I don't think this worked out last week. This was during the Wednesday live stream. In fact, let me double check. I'm going to bring this off to another page, and I want to see where these guys finished. Victor Perez was doing well for some time. I don't think any of these guys. I'll put these over here and just do a match. Oh, I got one. It was Matt McCarty. The one guy I said I did not like his I didn't like his course fit. So it was just Matt McCarty. He's the only guy, but I got this correct 1 out of 3. I got this wrong. This was wrong. Cam Davis looked terrible. Taylor Moore looked terrible. Rico Hoey could not make a putt. EVR looked okay for the most part, but still not great. So a little bit of a strikeout there. That's again during the Wednesday live streams for YouTube members only. All right, we got everyone locked in. We are going to go right now. I got to change that up. All right, here we go. 5 lineups or 3 minutes, whatever comes first. Speaking of Victor Perez, the signups all right. Ben Griffin, Sungjae, Sam Stevens, Putnam, Perez, and Adam Schenk. Again, if you don't like certain golfers, just tell me kick whoever the golfer's name is, and I'll do that. We get Griffin, Yu, Stevens, Kitayama, Putnam, and Adam Schenk. This lineup is Ben Griffin, Siwoo Kim, Sam Stevens, Putnam, Cole, and Shank. Ooh, okay. It's an interesting lineup. Spicy lineup. Ben Griffin, Sung J M, Sam Stevens, Putnam, Bezadenhout, and Adam Shank. I don't mind Bezzy. Bezzy seems fine. Griffin, Glover, Stevens, Putnam, Taylor Moore, and Adam Shank. Okay. So out of these lineups, Ryan, was there a golfer you didn't really care for? I kind of like this, actually. I might ask all of you. I'm going to build you 5 lineups, and then I'm going to ask you, is there a golfer from those lineups you don't like? And then I will remove them, and we'll create a new lineup. No, they're all decent. There we go. I'm gonna build one lineup, and I'm just gonna end up deleting, but you can see one more, and it's Grillo. Grillo replaces who? Who was it? Grillo replaced Taylor Moore. So there you go. These 2 lineups are the same. One has Grillo, one has Taylor Moore. You choose. Alrighty then. Okay, Ryan, those were your lineups. So on to Wheels Up. Montgomery. We're not talking about Taylor Montgomery, are we? Sung J M. You want Matt McCarty. Oh man, you are just gonna throw away money, aren't you? Taylor Montgomery. Worst golf swing on the PGA Tour. Okay. Sung J in there. We'll hit the timer and change it up. It is Taylor. All right, here we go. It breaks. So hold on. What do we have too much of? Let me double check something. Three last year ones. Is that something? Oh boy. Oh man. Actually, I copied the wrong one. Hold on. That's not correct. I need to copy all that over. Okay. I didn't copy the defaults over from my working spreadsheet to this one. There we go. Because I didn't think I was going to have to do anything with them. All right, so what do we see here? This is fine. That's all fine. This is fine. No last week 5s. No course history 3s. Is that vital? Last week 5 and course history 3s. Last week 5s. 1 to 3. That's fine. We don't have to include those guys. That's fine. And then course history 3s. You've always seen one inside the top 10. You've always seen one in the optimal lineup. So why can't we choose a golfer from here? So it might be because they're too cheap. That's probably what it is. You do JT Poston, but is he in a group with someone else? Oh, you're choosing 3 golfers. See, there's 1, 2, 3. You're choosing 3 golfers that are not in Marquee Tee Times. So it has to choose a golfer in a Marquee Tee Time. And I imagine, why was it not trying for JT Poston? Are you trying to max out AM PMs? You know what? I bet you... Well, never mind. To be quite fair with you, the golfers that you've provided, some of them are just bad. And some of them, just Taylor Montgomery's bad. Suber's fine. McCarty's fine. Sung Jam's fine. Sure. I'll just appease you, man. This isn't following the SweetSpot rules. Is that what? Something just doesn't look right. 0 to 3, 0 to 2, 0 to 2, 0 to 2, 0 to 2. Oh, this should be... That's 0 to... Why is this 0 to 3? That shouldn't be 0 to 3. Did I just move it to 0 to... Oh, I did move it to 0 to 3. Oh, okay. That's fine. Then it's 1 to 4. Yeah, that works fine. Move that to 0 to 3. 0 to 2, 0 to 2, 0 to 2. 1 to 3. This can be 0 to 3. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. That can be 0 to 3. No, we'll build you some Taylor Montgomery lineups. Okay. Ben Griffin, Davis Thompson, Sung J M, Matt McCarty, Jackson Suber, Taylor Montgomery. So Ben Griffin and Davis Thompson. Yeah. So I think you're going to force the optimizer just to select a bunch of guys from up here, is what it looks like. Ben Griffin, Chris Goddard, and then your 4. JT Poston, Davis Thompson. That's an, well, 49.4. So that's up to you if you want to leave $600 on the table. But it looks like Ben Griffin is just going to have to be Ben Griffin or Ben Griffin or who am I trying to think of? Yeah, so it doesn't. I'm going to take Taylor out. You're going to thank me in the long run. It'd be, I mean, hey, if he turns it around, he turns it around, but I doubt it. I doubt it. The guy's golf swing is terrible. I know he had injury issues. Taylor Montgomery had injury issues, but he's not a guy that I would feel that comfortable playing. You know what? I'm going to also give you access to Sam Stevens too, because I bet you he would actually be a golfer that would you'd want in your lineup. I jammed in Ben. Why I needed a 6K golfer. Jammed in Ben. I don't get it. Ben Griffin, Sung Jae, Sam Stevens. I thought Sam Stevens would show up. Keith Mitchell, Matt McCarty, and Jackson Suber. It's a fantastic lineup. 10, 9, 8, 3 7s. And it's Ben Griffin, Sung Jae, Ryan Gerard, Taylor Moore, Matt McCarty, Jackson Suber. And Ben Griffin, Sung Jae M, Kevin Yu, Patrick Rogers. Patrick Rogers does decent at this event. Matt McCarty and Jackson Suber. And I'm going to give you one more if you didn't like Patrick Rogers. This one's not bad either. I do like Sam Ryder this week. Ben Griffin, Sung Jae M, Lucas Glover, Matt McCarty, Sam Ryder, and Jackson Suber. Do like that lineup. Who do I like that one more? Probably the Gerard Taylor Moore lineup. That's my guess. Yeah, those are solid lineups. I like them. You love Sam this week? Yeah. Sam, I think Sam Ryder's a good play this week. All right. Moving on. Sorry that took a little while. I had to navigate what was going on. Tim Tulos, Ben Griffin, and Bud Cauley. Benjamin. I do like Jackson Suber this week as well. That I think is a pretty solid play. Okay. Griffin and Cauley. All right, Tim, you ready? Let me know. Oh, if Joanne left, or if she hasn't left, Joanne, good luck to you too. If you have left, I'm sorry, I didn't see your message earlier. Tim is ready. All right. Again, if you don't like certain golfers, just tell me to kick and then whatever their name is. First lineup. Ben Griffin, Bud Cauley, Ryan Gerard, Keith Mitchell, Victor Perez, and Eric Cole. Not terrible. next lineup is Ben Griffin, Sung Jae-im, Bud Cauley, Kurt Kitayama, Patrick Rogers, and Hayden Springer. So we get Hayden Springer in there. I like that lineup. 10-9-8, 7-7-6. It's a great lineup. Griffin, M, Cauley, Gerard, Bo Hauser, and Nick Dunlap. Oh man, I don't think I mean, Nick Dunlap's going to turn around eventually. I just don't think it's now. Ben Griffin, Sung Jae-im, Bud Cauley, Taylor Moore, Lee Hodges, and Chan Kim. Do you like Sung Jae-im that much? Let me know. We can kick him out. Let's see here. It's 2 Sung Jae lineups. I'll build you one more. He wasn't in this one. That's fine. Ben Griffin, Bud Cauley, Ryan Gerard, Nico Echeverria, Lee Hodges, and Rico Hoey. I don't mind going back to Rico. I think that's fine. Kick him. Okay, if he shows up, I'll kick him. He didn't. Bo Hauser showed up. Griffin, Cauley, Gerard, Echeverria, Yeager, and Hosler. I actually like that lineup quite a bit. All right, Tim, is there a lineup out of this that you don't like? Or is there, is there a golfer from the lineups here you don't like? We can build you one more. Base J, dude, you won the month of giveaway. It is a giveaway to, or it's a free month at SweetSpotDFS.com. Congrats, dude. I ran that giveaway earlier in this video, so that's what I remember. Yeah, just make sure you have an account at SweetSpotDFS.com. If you don't, go sign up. You can find a link for it in the description. And then I'll just basically, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just update your account to be, you'll have access to everything for a month, basically. All right. Those are lineups for Tim. Philip Hall, Thorbjornsen, and then it's Pearson Cootie and Kevin Roy. All right. Philip Paul, are you ready, sir? Are you in the chat? Let me know. Guess while that's going on, I'm gonna find I'm gonna update something on the fly. Yeah. Did you miss my lineup? I haven't gotten to it yet. Oh, actually, I skipped a bunch of people's lineups. You're right. John, I will get to yours, and I also need to get to Joanne's. Okay. not to blame basically what I saw, and it's not to blame Wheels Up, but when I said don't put your lineups in, he where is it? I can't tell with it looking like this. Where is it? He did this, my core please, and then he copied and pasted my core please. And so when I was done with his lineup, because I went here to Wheels Up, and then when he was done, I actually went down to this one, and then it was the next one underneath. And I still have, I got Lombardi to do. Yeah, okay. Well, that's what happens when people put their lineups up too soon. I don't get consistent lineups all the way down, and I gotta double check and find where these people are. Okay, so my bad. I still have other people to get to. Philip, since I pinned your message, we'll still do your lineups, but I need to get back to Lombardi Lee. So I apologize to Lombardi, Joanne, and John. I am sorry. Okay. Here we go. You said no no Sungjae. Okay. Here we go. Timer's on the screen. Your first lineup is Jake Knapp, Michael Thorbjornsen, Pearson Cootie, Keith Mitchell, Kurt Kitayama, and Kevin Roy. That's a pretty solid lineup. 9, 9, 8, and 3 7s. We went over that with the Pass Optimal and GPP win lineups. Davis Thompson, Thorbjornsen, Cootie Fowler, Kevin Roy, and the Assassin. It's been a while. Rio Assassine. It's a first real lineup tonight. J-Day, Thorbjornsen, Cootie, Roy, Tom, Small Hands Tom Kim, and Bo Hosler. That's pretty solid. I like that lineup. Getting a lot of Bo love tonight. Jason Day, Thorbjornsen, Cootie, Yeager, Kevin Roy, and the Fiscal Policy, Stephen Fisk. Off with my head. No, we're fine, dude. It's all good. Davis Thompson, Michael Thorbjornsen, Cootie, Smalley, Yeager, and Kevin Roy. Thompson, Thorbjornsen, Cootie, Smalley, Yeager, and Kevin Roy. Okay. That one's... I like that a lot. Alex Smalley, I've got no issue with. Starts with Davey Boy Thompson. Okay. Phil, anything out of these lineups you don't like? No Fowler. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove the Fowler lineup and try again. Thompson, Thorbjornsen, Cootie, Sam Stevens, Roy, and Seamus Power. I don't mind it. Seamus did kind of struggle last week, so here's kind of an additional one. Day, Thorbjornsen, Cootie, Kevin Roy, Eric Cole, and Max McGravy. I like that lineup a lot. 10, 9, 8, and 3 7s. I like that lineup a lot. Solid. Oh, it's kind of a little extra lineup if you want it. Don't have to take it if you don't want it. All right. All right. Time to get back to where I'm supposed to be. Jaeger killed you last week. That's awesome, Dandon. There you go. Yeah, Jaeger's just too good of a golfer to have chained up for too long, or to cage for too long. He did bad last week, but he can prove himself a good boy this week. All right, Lombardi, here we go. Hubbard, Davis Thompson, and Bud Colley. All right. Mark Hubbard. Oh, there he is. 7,700. Lombardi, are you ready, sir? Aging Lombardi. Lombardi Lee. Let's see, 7,700, 86, and 96. Okay. Well, we're going to start. We get Thompson, Sungjae, Colley, Mark Hubbard, Taylor Moore, and the Assassin, Rio Satsune. Next lineup is Thompson, Colley, Gerard, Podgeter, Hubbard, and Jesper Svensson. Ooh. That is one of the... I like that lineup. I haven't played music yet tonight. That's close enough for me to want to play a little bit of music. Some of these just might not be good enough, honestly, but... Thompson, Sung JM, Bud Colley, Mitchell, Hubbard, and Adam Hadwin. Solid. Lombardi, you're behind. Thompson, Thorbjornsen, Colley, Hubbard, Jaeger, and the Assassin once again. Rio Satsune. Thompson, Thorbjornsen, Colley, Hubbard, Jaeger. That's a really good lineup. You know what? That might be the best lineup that the John Deere Classic can provide. You know what? For that, here's what we'll do. I'll do music since I haven't done it yet. I mean, music as in like how sexy that lineup was. Pretty good. Pretty good. And the next lineup is Davis Thompson, Bud Colley, Sam Stevens, Smalley, Hubbard, and Kit Ayama. I'll build you one last one because I don't know how I feel about that one. Like, I'm just always kind of iffy on Kitayama. Last one is Davis Thompson, Sung JM, Bud Colley, Hubbard, Perez, and Hui. That one's fine. All right, so there are 6 lineups. I'm deleting one of them. The Kitayama one actually looks pretty good. It might be the Hui lineup I like the least. It's hard to say. Yeah, I actually don't mind Adam Hadwin this week, so we'll do that. That's fine. Jim, good luck to you too, sir. All right. Moving down the list, so Lombardi Lee. I go to Joanne. And then John, you're next. John Bizzle's next. Joanne wants Thorbjornsen, Kirk, and McCarthy. Thorbjornsen. Chris Kirk. And McCarthy. Denny McCarthy. All right. First Denny lineup tonight. Do I need to bump? Oh, yeah. I need to bump up Chris Kirk. Bump it up. Bump up the score. Here we go. I think that's fine. You are welcome, Lombardi Lee. You are welcome. Okay. Timer is on the screen. Let's go. We get McCarthy Thorbjornsen, Chris Kirk, Perez, the Assassin, and Patrick Rogers. Okay. I don't mind it. Next lineup is McCarthy, Thorbjornsen, Kirk, Fowler, the Assassin yet again. Maybe I should start doing this. And Justin Lauer. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. McCarthy, Thorbjornsen, Kirk, Perez, Whaley, Seamus Power. That one's a spicy meatball. I also don't hate that lineup. Then we get McCarthy, Thorbjornsen, Kirk, Echeverria, Cole, and Patrick Fishburne. Interesting. Do I trust Fishburne that much? I build one more after this, just as a replacement in case that's not that good. McCarthy, Thorbjornsen, Kirk, Mitchell, Perez, and Phillips. Sure. I got no issue going back to Carl Phillips. Kind of like a little bonus lineup in case you didn't like any of the other five. We get, Old Man Kuchar? I don't think so. This lineup I like a little bit better. McCarthy, Thorbjornsen, Kirk, Echeverria, Kitayama, and Mac Meisner. All right. Here are your lineups. Oh, Joanne's not here, so I can't ask her if she likes these lineups, but here are lineups for Joanne. Which one do I like the least? I think it's the Vince Whaley, Seamus Power lineup. I also want to see Kuchar. I shouldn't say it like you guys are reading my mind, but in my head, I'm like, what has Kuchar done lately? Missed cut, 25th, 53rd, 56th, 32nd. He's not making a lot of birdies, ladies and gentlemen. Not making a lot of birdies. Some of these courses are tough. Some of them are not. I think he just lost it, guys. I don't think he's got the firepower anymore. I think he's a grind it, like type of, like grind out par type of golfer. And this isn't a course where you need to be grinding out pars. I don't think he really has it, man. I don't think he has enough firepower anymore. He needs to play like the RBC Heritage or even Wyndham. Like, I don't mind playing him at like the Wyndham Championship. Okay. I'm gonna. Seamus Power interests me, but I just don't know. That's what I was looking at. I should have been looking at that. What has Seamus Power been doing? Missed the cut last week. Only got to even par. This is bad. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with that. I don't care for Seamus Power. All right. Those were lineups for Joanne, and now we go to John. John is taking last week's champion in Pot Geeter, and he is also adding Michael Kim. All right. Isn't this about the last time, or isn't this about the time last year he went on a run? We talking about Kuchar or Seamus? Kuchar or Seamus? You went from a cut at the John Deere Classic to a 3rd place at the 3M to 12th place to then a 13th place at the Pro Course. So yeah, you're right. And he had been, well, at least he had a top 20. It's kind of the same. Old man Kuchar plays better when the temperature's warm. I imagine because he's got creaky bones. Yeah, good observation, man. Oh, we are getting tired. Whew. Okay. We got Michael Kim and Pot Geeter in there. I do need to bump up both of their scores just so they don't, just so the optimizer doesn't have issues with it. Okay. Here we go. John Bizzle. Jason Day, Gerard, Kim, Potgeeter, Yeager, and Eric Cole. That one's fine. Day, M, Kim, Potgeeter, Castillo, and Bohazler. Interesting. Very interesting. I like it. Sungjae, Lucas Glover, Gerard, Kim, Potgeeter, and Sam Ryder. Okay, a little bit more of a balanced build there. 998877. I like it. Then we go Sungjae, Kevin Yu, Michael Kim, Potgeeter, Alex Smalley, and Christian Bezadenhout. And then it's Jason Day, Sungjae M, Michael Kim, Potgeeter, Lee Hodges, and Steven Fisk. Okay. John, is there a lineup here or a golfer that you don't like? And also, we started most of those lineups with either Jason Day or Sungjae M. If you want a lineup started with someone else, let me know. Day and M. What do you mean by that? You want to start with Denny? Okay. You don't like Day and M. I got you. I see. Not a big fan of Luke List this week. Actually, I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Here's a bit of a different lineup. McCarthy, M, Kim, Potgeeter, Hodges, and Tom Kim. And I'll just do one more for you since you didn't like Sungjae and Day. The Mustache Man with Keith Mitchell. There you go. McCarthy, Sungjae M, Michael Kim, Potgeeter, Mitchell, and Chandler Phillips. There we go. Not a huge fan. Actually, you know what? I'll keep that one. I'm going to take out the... Well, actually, you know what? I'll change out one Lee Hodges lineup with another. Oh, you said you didn't like Sungjae. Why did I build these lineups with Sungjae in them? All right, let's try that one over again. Mustache Man's getting booted out. So then we get Denny McCarthy, Siwoo Kim, Michael Kim, Potgeeter, Lee Hodges, and Chan Kim. It's a lot of Kims. There's 3 Kims in that lineup. That's nuts. And a Max Homa lineup. Okay, I'm going to keep that one. this is what we're going to do. We're going to go bloop. Is that 5? No, that's 6. Okay. I think if I'm going to kick one out, we'll kick out a Sung Jae lineup. I'm just going to go with my gut. We're going to kick this one out. All right. John, these are your lineups right here. 5 lineups. I mean, any of those lineups I built you. If you like them, keep them. But those are yours. Pause the video if you need to. All right. Let's clear all of this out. Huh. All right. Cool. So, John, we got you. Now I go down the list as I see it. And AJ, are you here? You want Echeverria and Putnam. You are welcome, John. Nico Echeverria. Oh, boy. Get out of there. Echeverria and Putnam. Okay. AJ's here. All right, AJ. Timer's on the screen. Tell me if you don't like certain golfers by saying kick and then whoever. First lineup. Sung Jae, Thorbjornsen, Kevin Yu, Echeverria, Andrew Putnam, Taylor Moore. Pretty balanced lineup that one was. Very balanced. Griffin, M, Echeverria, Kitayama, Putnam, and Patrick Rogers. A lot of Patrick Rogers love tonight. Griffin, Yu, Echeverria, Andrew Putnam, Jaeger, and the Assassin, Ryo Setsune. Griffin, Gerard, Sam Stevens, Echeverria, Putnam, and Rico Hoey. 10, 2 8s, and 3 7s. I like that lineup. Griffin, M, Echeverria, Putnam, Grillo, and Castillo. Couple Illos at the end. Kick M. Okay. Let me bring back Castillo and we'll kick M. Lots of M love tonight. All right, you get J-Day and Ben Griffin, 2 10K golfers, to go with Echeverria, Putnam, Stephen Fisk, and Adam Hadwin. That's a lineup. I'm going to build another. I'm going to build a different one. I don't know if I don't. It's a lot of. I mean, there's too much Hadwin for me tonight. Better lineup is Ben Griffin, Kevin Yu, Sam Stevens, Echeverria, Putnam, and Stephen Fisk. I'm actually going to remove that one too because that's Fisk and Hadwin just showing up a ton tonight. And now we get this lineup. Jason Day, Kevin Yu, Fowler, Echeverria, Putnam, and Sam Ryder. And one more for the road. Ben Griffin, Yu, Fowler, Echeverria, Putnam, and Eric Cole. There we go. That one is absolutely A-okay. I'm actually delete this last one because I like this one better, and it's similar golfers. But these are your lineups right here, man. AJ Love. So they either start with Ben Griffin or Sung Jae or Jason Day. think now it's down to base J. Let me know if anyone's in the chat that I missed. I don't think I missed anybody, but let me know if I did. No M, Siwoo Kim, or you. Nobody below 7K. Wow. Okay. Well, that's easy to do. If you have the optimizer, all we got to do is just put zeros for the max for 6Ks. So each of these, we just go 0 for the max. That's pretty simple. No M, Siwoo Kim, or Kevin Yu. Okay, so Kevin Yu, don't want. And no Siwoo. And no M. Easy peasy. Okay. So I gotta put in Chan Kim and Pearson Cootie. And Valimaki. Okay. Chan Kim. All right, here we go, sir. Ben Griffin, Lucas Glover, Pearson Cootie, Taylor Moore, Valimaki, and Chan Kim. Jake Knapp, Jason Day, Cootie, Tom Kim, Valimaki, Chan Kim. I don't mind that one. That one's pretty good. Just gonna call him Jake Day. Jason Day, Thorbjornsen, Cootie, the Assassin, Valimaki, and Max McGravy. Wait a minute. Hold on. I forgot to lock in Chan Kim. I was gonna say, that made no sense to me. How did that work out? All right, let's bring back McGravy and see if we can get him back in the lineup. Jason Day, Jake Knapp, Cootie, Valimaki, Max, there it is, Max McGreevy, and Chan Kim. Cool. I asked and I received. Ben Griffin, Lucas Glover, Cootie, Yeager, Valimaki, and Chan Kim. I like this lineup. Don't know how I feel about Lucas Glover this week, but solid lineup nonetheless. Jason Day, Chris Kirk, Cootie, Mitchell, Valimaki, Chan Kim. And I'm going to do one more, and we're going to kick out J-Day. And then what other lineups were we getting? A lot of Ben Griffin and Lucas Glover. So I'm going to actually kick out Lucas Glover. See if we can get something different. We can. Davis Thompson, Chris Goddard, Cootie, Fowler, Valimaki, Chan Kim. I am interested to see what happens if Fowler's not in a lineup like that. Does it just switch the salaries or does it go somewhere else? We get our first JT Poston lineup. Poston, Thompson, Cootie, Jesper Svensson, Valimaki, and Chan Kim. That's a pretty solid lineup. Boot Fowler. Yep, we booted Fowler. So you didn't like that lineup, we'll kick that one out. So here are 6 lineups. Which one do you not like? I think if it's up to me, probably kicking out one of the J-Day Jake Knapp lineups, just because it's redundant to some extent. And honestly, I'd probably kick out the Tom Kim lineup. I probably like Max McGravy a little bit more. No Jesper. Okay. Playing safe. Playing smart. Doesn't want the risk of Jesper Svensson. Okay. Just Eagle the 10th playing the course now. Cool. I think since there are no other lineups in the chat, I'm probably gonna call it quits right there. Try to keep these streams a little bit shorter than usual. This is still 2.5 hours long, so it is what it is. Appreciate everybody that joined in. Who's still here, I wonder? Yeah. And you know what? For those that are still here, if you want an additional entry into the giveaway, just say good night. What do I think about Cootie this week? I think Cootie's fine. I got no... I'm very 50-50 on Cootie. Very 50-50. Dumb and Dumber? Hey, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Every Tuesday, man. Every Tuesday. Good night, Wheels Up. You saw 33 to 1? Ah, man. I honestly, I don't know. I don't even know if those are fair odds, because I don't put him in that category of like that good of a golfer, but maybe he's been doing some things that I haven't been paying attention to, which is very possible. I honestly don't. Has he been on the Corn Ferry Tour? Is that why his odds are that high? He was. Oh, that's why. Yeah. He is at the Corn Ferry Tour. May 29th was 12th. June 5th, 2nd. June 19th, 3rd. And June 26th, last week, 7th. He's scoring a lot of birdies. So actually, Pearson Cootie, I don't think is a terrible play. And he was 16th at the Charles Schwab Challenge. I mean, he's a Texas boy, and that was a Texas event. That's pretty good. Even the other Texas event, CJ Cup, finished 25th. Pearson Cootie's not a bad play. Okay. Okay. Oh, alrighty, guys. I am going to take off. Appreciate everybody being in the chat. And I hope you all have a good night. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll